So this morning got delivery of my new set of tires that's going to go on the truck. I went with the Falcon Wild Peak AT4Ws size 35 by 11.5. I'm going to pair those with an 18 by 9 positive 18 offset method 305 NV in double black. You can see in here, this is what the wheels will look like, the new double black color scheme on this model of Method. I love it. I'm going to get everything mounted and balanced later this afternoon. We'll see how it turns out. Let's talk about putting 35s on the Tundra. I want to talk about why I chose what I did for the wheels and tires, talk about getting them mounted, talk about any rubbing I experienced or modifications I had to do to get them to fit properly, and any other insights I may have. If you haven't seen any of my other content, keep in mind that the truck that I have is a 2024 Tundra Limited with the TRD off-road package, as well as the 3-inch TRD lift from the factory. So once we get into some of the mounting and rubbing situations of the tires, some of that will be specific to this specific setup on the truck. So if you have a Tundra with the TRD lift or are thinking about getting it installed by the dealer or have another lift that is a similar setup to the TRD lift, then a lot of the insights that I share should be valuable to you. As you saw in the intro to the video, the rim that I went with are the Method 305 NV double blacks in 18 by 9 with a positive 18 offset. Now, the reason that I went with these is one, I love to look at them, I always have, but two, I actually owned a pair of these Methods in a slightly different color scheme on my previous Tundra. I had a 2015 Platinum Tundra a few years ago, and I really liked them, so I decided when I got this new Tundra that I had to go with the same setup, and this double black color they released was just awesome to me, to have the bolts be the consistent color as the rest of the rim as well. So that's what I decided to go with. The positive 18 offset I went with because I really like the level of poke that provides outside the fender flares. I just think it's a really good balance all around. So just so you know, those are the details on the wheel I went with. If you happen to like them or want the same one, I will link them down below in the description. Now, as far as the tire I wanted to go with, I wanted a 35-inch tire or something super close, but I didn't want to sacrifice a ton of the ride quality on the road. So I mentioned I had a 2015 Tundra Platinum, and on that truck, I put Falcon AT3Ws in a 295/70 R18, and those are an E-load rated tire. And I loved it. It was a great tire, performed well, but being E-load rated, it was pretty stiff on the highway. This time I wanted to go with something slightly different and not E-load rated to maintain as much as I could of that factory ride on the highway. So I started looking at all my options and reading reviews and seeing what tire sizes would fit an 18-inch rim, which is the rim that I got in the size that I like most, and also have a load rating less than E. Now, if you're looking for a list of tire sizes that are at or around that 35-inch point on different rim sizes, I found a really valuable list on tirebuyer.com. I'll put up on the screen right now, just so you can look at that and or go find that online for your own uses as well. What I found is that the load rating options below E with an 18-inch rim and a 35-inch tire are few and far between. However, I was able to find that the newer version of the tires I used to run on my Tundra, the Falcon AT4Ws, were just released within the past few months, and they came out with a 35 by 11.5 wide option for an 18-inch rim that is a C load rating. Once I saw that, I didn't really look around anywhere else, and I placed the order because I knew, having owned the previous generation of those tires, that I like the overall tire, and having that paired with a different load rating, C versus E before, I figured it's definitely worth a shot and that it should be able to maintain more of that factory ride on the road. So the tires showed up, they looked awesome. I want to show you a comparison here of the tires that I got versus the size of the factory tires on the truck. I'll put both sizes of tires on the screen here, as well as this clip that we're looking at. And it's definitely a significant difference in size, as you can see, but it was the exact size that I wanted in order to fill out these wheel wells more and make sure the truck did not look like it missed leg day. I got the tires from TireRack.com, which is owned by Discount Tire. So what I did to get them mounted and balanced was actually just take it to my local Discount Tire, and they mounted and balanced all four, including swapping the TPMS sensors and airing up the old tires, putting them in the bed for $112. So well worth it in order to save time and effort on my end as well and not have to hassle with any of that, and it turned out great. Now, the first thing I noticed after they were on was there was definitely some rubbing on the mud flaps when turning in both drive and reverse. So what I did when I got home was removed those front mud flaps, and I also pinned back the fender liner with some automotive panel clipping that I got from the hardware store for like $1. And after that, the tires had full clearance on full lock both ways, and there's no rubbing. I'm gonna switch over to some footage of me figuring out that fender liner pin back with those automotive clips in case you want to go about it the same way that I did. So here's the clips I just picked up at my local Ace Hardware. They're standard automotive clips. These ones technically I believe are 9.5mm clips. But I did test them on the hole and there is resistance, so I'm hoping that when I get a hole drilled in the fender liner, I can kind of just use some force, pin it back there, and it'll be secure. We'll see. To try to give a better view of what I'm talking about here. Here's the piece of fender liner that needs to be pinned back. You can see the give there. And there is a hole underneath there that I'm going to attempt to pin it back to. Just poked a little hole in the liner with a flathead screwdriver, to be honest. See if that's enough to get my clip through. If I don't need to get the drill out, that'd be ideal, but okay, so the automotive clip is a little longer than I would have liked. Okay, just made it a little shorter. Cut the tip off. These are like 50 cents at the hardware store. If I mess it up, I can always get another one. Voila. I think that's gonna work pretty dang well. This view of after, you can see the clip that I put in. And these screws here will go back in as well. Those are the ones that are holding the mud flap on. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll see if anything's rubbing. And after driving around with the truck on the new shoes for a couple weeks now, that was in fact the only thing that was causing rubbing, and it drives great. Down the road, I'll do some more videos on my thoughts on the tires after driving on them more and how they hold up and ride on the highway, so keep your eyes posted for those. In the meantime, feel free to comment below, ask me any questions you have about the wheel and tire setup I went with, about fitting 35s, or anything else about the truck that I could provide. And let's go to one more shot of the truck's before and after.